Hey, this is Mike with the Quality Sportsman. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video introducing the 6mm Max as what I thought is the new best cartridge for AR-15. Today, we're digging into the build, what I like about it and what I don't. Let's go. Before we get into it, I'd ask that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. The channel's growing really fast, and I really appreciate everyone that is helping it grow. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me grow it further, put more time into it to bring you better content each week. If you enjoy this video, please hit that like button as well. Thanks. All right, folks. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I dropped a video claiming the 6mm Max is the next best thing for AR-15 standard design cartridges. I stand by it and I love it. A lot of people have been supportive, interested in the round. Some people sticking to the older rounds, older cartridges, and that's fine. But I did get a lot of questions of people emailing me and asking and saying, hey, Mike, what about the build? You talked about the cartridge, but you didn't talk about your rifle that you built. So today we're going to be looking at that. I want to walk you through the build, the different components and parts I chose, why I chose them, and what I like about it and what I don't. Not all of it is perfect. I think this is still a work in progress, although I feel like it's about 80 to 90% there. The first thing I did was I decided that I was going to build this around an Aero Precision lower, upper, and handguard. So I went with the Aero Precision. I actually bought a full lower kit. So what does that mean? That means it came with a fire control group, which is all of the trigger parts. It came with the buffer tube installed, no buttstock, and all the little pins, safety selector switch, all that thing. While I do enjoy building AR-15s, I needed something quick. I don't get a lot of joy out of putting in all of the pins and springs and all of those things. To me, that's tedious work, and I don't feel like by doing it myself, I'm actually adding any value to the build. While this is just a basic Aero Precision trigger, I am going to pull this out and put a TriggerTech single stage trigger in, which is designed for long range style AR-15 shooting. That has an adjustable trigger, and that will allow me to dial it into a nice light single stage trigger squeeze for my long range engagements. So that's something I'm definitely going to do. But honestly, even the basic TriggerTech the basic Aero Precision fire control group worked fine. I shot a competition with this and I did really well. So I did design it around the AR-15 lower. I got it in the OD green anodized. One of the problems with that is because I did not take care to get the handguard and the upper and lower receiver from the same lot. I actually bought them from different places to save on cost. The anodization process is a little tricky to get colors exact, so we do kind of have let me hold this up closer if you can see it. We do have two different colors, kind of a two-tone OD green. At first I was kind of annoyed, but I like it. It's fine. It's got a cool look to it. So again, I built this around the Aero Precision lower, complete. It came with the buffer and the buffer spring, which are fine for this application, carbine weighted spring and buffer. And I really do like Aero Precision parts. For me, I don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an AR-15 build just to still get, maybe down to 1 minute of angle accuracy on a gun. So I wanted to keep this a reasonable build, and from my past experience, Aero Precision puts out good products, but they're still relatively affordable. I don't see the need to go any higher end. I didn't really want to build a $4,000 gun here. So again, I went with the Aero Precision upper that came with a barrel nut, and I did get the 15-inch Atlas handguard here. That is a really nice piece of equipment. If I did it again, I maybe would have gone with their 16.6 inches, as I have a little bit of room left over here. So we'll see how that works out. Not a huge deal, but when I grab my ARs, I tend to kind of long arm it on barricades. That's something I'm trying to fix because I'm not sure that's as stable as if I were to clamp it down on the bag. But maybe this will help with that. So I really like their handguards. The way their handguards tighten down, and they have this monolithic rail and all of these M-lock slots. I think it looks really neat. I've had a really good experience with them before, so that was a no-brainer for me. Okay, so we covered the lower, the upper, those are all arrow parts. The Atlas R1 monolithic M-lock handguard, which is really nice. When you get the Aero Precision upper, it comes with a barrel nut. That barrel nut is really nice. It's a low profile one, so you don't have to time it to feed your gas tube through. You can just crank it down, torque it to spec, and you're done. I also went with an OD green, large size ambidextrous charging handle. It's called the Breach from Aero Precision. This matches the gun nicely. I really do like this charging handle. One thing I like about it is I've had some other charging handles that, well, first of all, you need the large design. Here you can see kind of like this double winged design here. That's really important when you're running like a DMR longer range rifle with a bigger scope, because depending on where you fit the scope, you know, I always kind of scratch my knuckles up on this focused diopter ring right here. So you want as big as you can so you can grab the side of it, charge it when you have a malfunction, or put a round in it, whatever you need to do, and not have the scope kind of block you and make that more complicated. What I really do like about this charging handle is when you lock your bolt to the rear, you can just push on it and it clicks and seats. I've had other, you know, higher end charging handles that were 100, 110 bucks, like a BCM, and you had to engage the wing of the charging handle to actually lock it forward, which is really annoying. It won't just go if you push it. So this Aero charging handle, you know, moderately priced. I think it was like 80 bucks, and I like it just fine. I like the large ambidextrous design. Okay, so I went with a Magpul adjustable carbine stock. Although this is a DMR long-range gun for me, I chose to try out the carbine shorter stock because for positional shooting, a lot of times, you know, you think you may want to be long and stretched out, but a lot of times you really actually, if you see the PRS shooters, they're really cramped down on their buttstock like this. And I think that helps with maneuverability and positional shooting. So that's kind of why I went with the carbine lower kit in the Magpul adjustable carbine slider stock. I'm going to keep running that for now. It feels really good for me shooting in the competitions, but I'm kind of wondering if I'm eventually going to want to switch to a full-size rifle length tube and fixed stock. So we'll see. But for right now, I think it's working pretty well. Okay, so what's left? Inside, I have an Aero Precision. Let's see if you can see that. You can see an Aero Precision bolt carrier group. This is a nickel coated, nice and shiny. You know, I've never run a nickel boron coated bolt before, and I kind of wanted to see if it made a difference. Honestly, I don't think it really does. It looks cool, but the problem is when it's dirty, you can tell it's dirty because it's not as shiny. So I don't, performance-wise, I don't have any data yet to show that this is running better than if I just got like a standard, you know, black bolt carrier group. I do like their bolt carrier group. It was priced okay. I think it was close to $200. Some of them are getting out of control. I thought it was a really good quality, and the gas tube bolts are staked properly, which is really nice. So that means this gas tube won't come out. And it just looked like a really solid design. No frills, got the cool Aero logo right there, which is awesome. But yeah, I definitely could tell that it was quality from how they staked the gas tube and some other parts of the design, just kind of being no frills, like really stout build. Okay. Of course, I have the Sons of Liberty Gunworks 20-inch 6 max barrel on here. That's a 1-to-7 twist barrel. You know, that was a simple install. Just used the barrel nut that came with the Aero Precision handguard. Um, on the barrel here, I have a precision armament muzzle brake. You know, I kind of just did some quick Googling to see which one is best. Um, Guys, I think most muzzle brakes are pretty similar. I mean, you can just look at it and see that they all have the same design. This one's fine. You know, got it timed with a washer kit here, and that'll live on the front of the rifle. I do prefer shooting muzzle brakes, although obviously it's not as comfortable shooting suppressed. You don't get a lot of that gas blowback in your gun that's making your rounds super dirty and, you know, caking up your gun. You don't get any gas back in your face. And it's a lot easier to stay on target and spot your rounds when you're shooting long range DMR style, which is absolutely critical. The suppressor, although it does, you know, folks can claim that it does give some break from the recoil. It's kind of a longer push, and even though it sounds less intense because it is suppressed, it's still a little bit longer for me to get that reticle back on target to see where my round hit compared to a muzzle brake. I did shoot my first competition suppressed, but that was because I had issues with the gas block that I put on here. So originally I went with an Aero Precision adjustable gas block. This barrel is kind of a stout design, and it takes a 0.875 sized gas block, which is a little tricky to find. And I was able to find an Aero Precision, you know, 0.875 gas block, adjustable gas block. And that did not work on this barrel. Now, I've run Aero adjustable gas blocks on other builds, and they have been fine. For some reason, the tolerances just didn't match up perfectly with this barrel. And in order to get it to cycle, I had to run suppressed, which, you know, adds more pressure and more gas back into the gun. So what I did was I called Brian down at BC Precision Ballistics, the guy that invented the 6 Max, and I asked him, and he said, hey, we just run the Sons of Liberty Gunworks fixed gas block, and it runs flawlessly. So I went with that, slapped it on, and I haven't had any issues since. It cycles perfectly. And that's a consideration you should make when you're building any AR, not just a 6 Max or a long range one, is really thinking through how versatile do you need it to be. When you're adding an adjustable gas block, in my mind, you're kind of adding another thing that you need to tune and another thing that could fail. It's obviously a lot more simple to have a fixed gas block than any tuning you need. You can do with buffer springs, buffer weights, things like that. But I haven't needed to do any of that. This runs flawlessly. It's perfectly gassed. And because I'm not going to be switching back and forth between the muzzle brake and the suppressor, that's completely fine. And I'm glad that I've ruled out kind of that, you know, extra point of failure. So once I got that gas block on, I was able to rerun the gun, put the muzzle brake on, and it runs flawlessly. And this is the way I'm going to stick with it right now. The gas tube is from Lantac. This is actually a Rifle Plus One, which is really hard to find. I'm not really sure why Sons of Liberty Gunworks went with a Rifle Plus One design on this. I can't speak to the finer points of selecting the length of the gas tube, but I know they do come in, you know, pistol length, carbine length, Rifle Plus One, which is a little more rare. So I was able to find that gas tube from Lantac down in Texas, ordered it online, and got that installed. You know, a gas tube's a gas tube. I don't really think that matters that much. Okay, now a couple more accessories. I do have an Arca-Lock rail from Area 419 on the bottom. I am a huge fan of Arca rails. The reason I like the Arca rail is when you are shooting off of different positions, it gives you a really nice flat surface to put on your bag. And to me, it feels like it eliminates wobble so much. So any build that I do, I'm usually adding an Arca rail on it. If I'm doing a PRS gun, like my 6mm Creedmoor behind me here, that chassis has an integrated Arca rail, so I don't need to add one. But any ARs, I'm always considering, you know, am I going to be doing a lot of positional shooting and throwing that Arca rail on there. Now, the Arca-Lock from Area 419 has these ridges on the side And I'm not a huge fan. I honestly, I bought this Arca rail a long time ago. And I think that this is supposed to work with specific Arca lock components that will kind of clamp down on those ridges. So when you just use it with components that are not specifically made to interface with the Arca lock, sometimes it feels like they can loosen up a little. So that might be something I'll change, but you know, it's okay. When I put my bipod on, I just clamp it down really tight and wiggle it, make sure it's fixed and it's good to go. I really do like having the Arca rail on the long range DMR gun for the reason I stated before, with the nice flat shooting surface on that bag. Okay, so then up front, I do have this MDT ground pod. To me, this is a great, affordable bipod. I have a couple of these that I run on different applications. It's kind of wild to me that you can spend $500, $600, $700, $800 on a bipod. To me, that feels really unnecessary. It's really easy just to flip these legs up, get them out of your way if you need to go from shooting prone through a barricade or something. It's really easy to loosen this nut, slide it off. So I love the ground pod. It's really simple and effective, and it's lightweight too, so I'm not adding a ton. Oh. See, getting it clamped on this Arca rail is a little tough. It's really lightweight, you know, nice adjustment range. If you want to adjust the legs here, you just hit this lever, slide it up and down. If you want to tighten it down as far as allowing your gun to cant, you can. You can also loosen that up and have it kind of free swing. I always try to find a nice middle ground because I want to, I don't, you know, rarely are you shooting from a perfectly level surface, and you need to be able to level your rifle while you're shooting out to distance. So I leave it a little loose, but I do like some stability there. Okay, so we've covered mostly everything on this rifle so far. The scope, this is an Athlon Cronus BTR UHD Gen 2. I did a video on that, on why I love this rifle scope so much. Very clear glass. I shot out to 1,100 yards. I have the same scope on my PRS gun. Shot out to 1,100 yards with that. And I was only on 18 power. It feels so clear. It feels like it has good, light getting through the scope. I really do like all the features of it. So go check out that video. I'll link it down below. I go a little bit more in depth on why I like that scope. And I'm using a Vortex set of cantilever rings. The cantilever rings are really important because for an AR design, for a long range AR, I don't think the platform was really designed for long range, but we're pushing it that way because it's really fun. You need to be able to get that scope forward, but you see where these rings are mounted. If I just had a straight ring, that ring would be on the front handguard. Now, although these handguards are really cool because they're called monolithic handrail handguards, they give you a single integrated Picatinny rail that kind of notches in and matches up with your receiver rail. That doesn't mean you should mount a scope on it and expect it to stay zeroed. There's no way, like this, the rail on top of your receiver, that is billet machined into your receiver. That is not gonna move. The rail on top of this is held by a nut down here that clamps over top of the receiver and the barrel nut, and I would not trust this. I've seen a lot of questions on forums, on Facebook about, hey, like I can't hold zero, things like that. And when I see a picture of their rifle, they have this front ring here. So all that to say, long story long, get a cantilever scope or a cantilever set of rings that are good quality that will allow you to mount on the receiver machined into, or the rail machined in your receiver, but still get those rings out forward over the rail. I'm a huge fan of that, and all of my AR builds have that long and short range. Okay, and last but not least, have a Durmag 20 round 350 Legend Mag. If you check out the 6 Max video, the first one I published, you'll see that that is one of the downsides of the 6 Max build. The parent case is a 350 Legend. A lot of questions on guys, can't you just use 5.56 PMags? The answer is no. Unfortunately, you can't. It comes back to the length of the round. It will not make a turn in a curved magazine, especially with 5.56, because the 350 Legend, the 6 Max overall length and base to ogive length is longer than the 5.56. And that's just so there's more case capacity to push bigger bullets faster. So that's unfortunate. But that said, these 20 round Duramags are perfect for me. I like to shoot quantified performance matches in the practical precision division. And there is a 20 round magazine length restriction for that division. They're relatively affordable. They work flawlessly for me. A lot of the feed issues that I've had previously with other AR-15s, if you've seen me struggle with the 6.5 Grendel, it's when you're trying to fit, non-standard cartridges in a magazine that has some curvature to it. They don't like that. So the 20 round Duramag for 350 Legend works perfectly for this. I like the metal ones. They work great. So, and they have a cool orange follower so I can tell them apart from my other mags. All right, so I hope you enjoyed hearing about the build. I wanted to tell you about the parts I chose and the thought process behind it. Not all of it is for maximum performance because, if we built every gun for absolute maximum performance, we would be broke and our wives would probably divorce us. So there are some things that I do think I'll change. Actually, once I finish making this video, I am going to change out the trigger. I'm going to put that Trigger Tech Diamond AR-15 match trigger in. That's adjustable. That will be a very nice addition to this build. And the things that I'm kind of considering changing but aren't ready to change just yet are maybe the buffer tube length, buffer system, and the stock, just to get a longer fixed stock on there, because this is my DMR designated marksman rifle. I'm always going to be shooting longer range competitions with it. I don't think I'm going to be shooting any faster, shorter, like 3-gun style matches that I do. I have another gun for that. I think that I may change that, but I'm not quite sure yet. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video, just digging a little bit into my build. I have a lot of good experience with AR-15s from all my time in the Army to the past few years, building them and shooting them and testing out different things. But I know that you all are very knowledgeable as well. So if you see any recommendations or any things that you would have done differently or have done differently on your AR-15 build, please go ahead and drop a comment and let me know. I enjoy learning from you guys as well. But until next time, that's it for the 6 Max build. I'll update as I shoot this more in competition and learn what I like and don't like and change some things out. But for now, this is a pretty solid build. I love it. It drives tax. Its max range so far is 817, and I'm excited to shoot some matches coming up here in the next month and push that out even further. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a like. Go ahead and check out some of the other videos on the 6 Max or the Athlon Cronus. And until then, we will see you next time on The Quality Sportsman. Thanks.